Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're exploring something absolutely fascinating, the science of food form. We're looking at how the literal physical structure of what we eat changes basically everything about how our bodies process it. Okay, let's dive into this.
So, check this out. Back in 1903, Thomas Edison actually predicted a future where doctors would focus on diet instead of just, throwing medicine at symptoms. And looking at the clinical science today, the guy was absolutely spot on.
Here is our roadmap for today. 1. Treating causes, not symptoms. 2. The fruit-sugar paradox. 3. The fiber matrix effect. 4. Feeding the microbiome. And 5. The oatmeal diet.
Starting off with number 1, treating causes, not symptoms. This whole journey actually starts with an incredible story, dedicated to Frances Greger. At just 65 years old, she was literally sent home in a wheelchair to die from terminal heart disease. But instead of giving up, she completely reversed her condition using a whole food, plant-based diet. She lived another 31 years. I mean, that is the true power of lifestyle medicine.
Which brings us to part 2, the fruit-sugar paradox.
Now, there's this incredibly persistent myth out there that diabetics, or really anyone trying to lose weight, absolutely must restrict whole fruit. But here's the thing. People are constantly confusing the natural fructose that's safely bound up inside whole fruit with those harmful, refined added sugars in processed foods. They behave entirely differently in your body.
And the clinical data completely backs this up. A 2013 study by Christensen showed that restricting fruit is just totally unnecessary for diabetic control. And even better, Madero's 2011 study proved that patients who actually kept whole fruit in their diet lost 50% more weight. So, restricting fruit? Yeah, completely unnecessary.
Moving on to Section 3, the fiber matrix effect. Now, what's really interesting here is the mechanics of how we eat. Think about it. You can easily chug 400 calories of cold-pressed apple juice in literally seconds, right? And that causes a massive blood sugar spike. But to get those exact same calories from the whole food, you'd have to sit there and chew your way through 5 whole cups of sliced apples. So why does that matter? Well, the fiber matrix inside that whole fruit does a lot of heavy lifting. It requires intensive chewing, it drastically slows down how fast you eat, and it physically stretches your stomach receptors to tell your brain, hey, we're full. Plus, it acts like a biological carrier, physically trapping those natural sugars so they release safely and slowly into your bloodstream. So, let's put this to the test with a fun question. We all know drinking straight sugar water causes a huge insulin spike, but what do you think happens if you take that exact same glass of sugar water and add blended berries to it? Nature's candy, right? You'd think it would be worse, but counterintuitively, the insulin spike is actually blunted. Harvard research shows that the bound polyphenols in whole fruit, those amazing beneficial compounds, actively block the transport of sugars right through your intestinal lining. It literally stops the sugar rush.
All right, Section 4, feeding the microbiome.
So, the crucial point is this. Our gut microbiome absolutely thrives on that intact prebiotic fiber. Your beneficial gut bacteria ferment it to churn out these things called short-chain fatty acids, and they essentially act like your body's own internal pharmacy, calming cravings and significantly reducing inflammation.
Let's move to our final section and see how this all builds together. Section 5, the oatmeal diet. This is wild. Long before modern diabetes drugs were ever a thing, high-carb, high-fiber, plant-based diets were actually saving lives. Carl von Noorden published the oatmeal diet way back in 1903. Fast forward to the 1940s, and Dr. Walter Kempner's simple rice and fruit diets were literally reversing advanced diabetic eye disease. The secret weapon here, especially in oatmeal, is beta-glucan. It's a specific prebiotic fiber in oats that selectively feeds those good gut bacteria we just talked about. But there is a catch, and actually doctors noted this a century ago. For this to work properly, animal protein must be strictly excluded from the diet. And this brilliantly illustrates the results. 40%. That is a massive 40% drop in the required insulin doses for patients placed on this oatmeal protocol. And modern trials completely confirm this. Uncontrolled type 2 diabetics saw that 40% reduction in insulin needs in just 2 days. After a month, fasting blood sugars dropped by about 25%. It works so fast that you actually need doctor's supervision to safely step down your medications, just so you don't become dangerously over-medicated while your body heals. So, we leave you with this provocative thought.
What is one processed food that you can swap out for its intact, whole food equivalent today? Remember, your gut flora begins changing within 24 hours. You literally have the power to start healing with your very next meal.
Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer.